Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2024. The message, dated Tuesday, the 22nd of October 2024, was received in the office of the Clerk of the Senate on Wednesday, the 23rd of October 2024. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 46.4, I now report the message. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41.1 and 148B of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas on Wednesday, the 7th of August 2024, the National Assembly passed the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2024, and thereafter referred the bill to the Senate for consideration in accordance with Article 110.4 of the Constitution. And whereas on Thursday, the 3rd of October 2024, the Senate considered and passed the said bill with amendments and referred it back to the National Assembly in accordance with the provisions of Article 112.1 of the Constitution. Further, whereas on Wednesday, 16th of October 2024, the National Assembly negatived a motion on consideration of the Senate amendments to the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill 2024, thereby committing it to a mediation committee in accordance with the provisions of Article 112.2b of the Constitution. Now, therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 112 of the Constitution and Standing Order 41.1 and 148b of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the said decision of the National Assembly to the Senate and seek the appointment of 9 senators to a mediation committee to consider the bill in accordance with Article 113 of the Constitution. Honorable Senators, consequent to the said decision, the Speaker of the National Assembly appointed the following members of the National Assembly to the Mediation Committee to consider the contentious clauses in accordance with Article 113 of the Constitution. 1. Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, CBS MP. Honorable Mary Emase, MP. Honorable Dr. John Chikati, MP. Honorable David Ocheng, CBS MP. Honorable David Kiplagat, MP. Honorable Dr. Otiende Amolo, SC MP. Honorable Fatuma Jeho, MP. Honorable Dr. Makali Mulu, MP. And Honorable Dr. Ojambo Oundo, MP. Honorable Senators, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 166.2 of the Senate, and in consultation with the Senate Majority Leader and the Senate Minority Leader, I will, at an appropriate time, appoint honorable senators to the Mediation Committee. Honorable Senators, you may take your seats before I read the last message. Now, honorable senators, I wish to report to the Senate that I have, pursuant to Standing Order 46.3, received the following message from the National Assembly regarding the approval of the mediated version of the Water Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 33 of 2023. The message, dated Tuesday, the 22nd of October 2024, was received in the office of the Clerk of the Senate on Wednesday, 23rd of October 2024. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 46.4, I now report the message. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41.1 and 154B of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas the Water Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2023, which was published via Kenya Gazette Supplement number 108 of 4th of July 2023 as a bill seeking to amend the Water Act 2016 to provide for public-private partnerships arrangements, was considered and passed by the National Assembly on the 7th of March 2024, and thereafter referred to the Senate for consideration in accordance with the provisions of Article 110.4 of the Constitution. And whereas the Senate considered and passed the bill with amendments, which upon reconsideration by the National Assembly were rejected on Thursday, the 30th of April 2024, consequently committing the bill to a mediation committee in accordance with the provisions of Article 112 of the Constitution. Further, whereas in accordance with the provisions of Article 113.2 of the Constitution and Standing Order 150, the National Assembly considered and approved the mediated version of the Water Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2023, on Wednesday, the 16th of October 2024, and in the form agreed to by the Mediation Committee on the bill. Now, therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 154B, the National Assembly of the National Standing Orders, I hereby convey the said decision of the National Assembly to the Senate. Honorable Senators, as you may recall, during the sitting of the Senate on Tuesday, the 22nd of October, 2024, Senator Beatrice Ogola, MP, on behalf of the chairperson of the Mediation Committee, laid on the table of the Senate the report of the Mediation Committee on the Water Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 33 of 2023, and soon thereafter gave notice of a motion for the adoption of the report and the approval of the mediated version of the bill. The Vice Chairperson of the Mediation Committee will, at an appointed time, move the motion for the adoption of the report and the approval of the mediated version of the bill as listed in the order paper. The House is guided accordingly. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of this Senate today, the 25th of October, the year of our Lord 2024, being, Mr. Speaker, the third annual report on the state of public-private partnerships, PPPs, by the National Treasury and Economic Planning for the financial year 2023-24. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 53-1. Honorable Senator Hamida Kibwana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My statement is regarding the facilities at the Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the deplorable state of health services at the Mama Lucy Hospital in Nairobi County. Particularly in the maternity wing, reports indicate severe overcrowding with as many as 5 patients sharing a single bed. Additionally, there are claims that patients unable to fully access necessary facilities are still being charged for services they could not utilize. Mr. Speaker, sir, the situation raises serious concerns about the dignity, safety, and well-being of the patients relying on the hospital for essential maternity and general health care services. It also highlights broader issues of inadequate healthcare infrastructure and staffing at the facility, which falls under the responsibility of the county government of Nairobi. In the statement, the committee should, 1, report on the extent of overcrowding and the strain of facilities at Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital and provide a report on the noted constraints to service provision of Kenyans. Number 2, outline the measures being taken by the county government of Nairobi to address the overcrowding, including immediate interventions and long-term plans to improve healthcare infrastructure and services at the hospital. Number 3, clarify the steps being taken to ensure the patients are not unfairly charged for services that are unable to access due to current constraints. And the last, number 4, recommend measures in how the national government, through the Ministry of Health, can support the county government in improving service delivery at Mama Lucy Hospital. Mr. Speaker, can I read the second one? The second one is lack of dedicated prayer room for Muslim students at Moi Girls High School in Kibra constituency, Nairobi City County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the lack of dedicated prayer facility for Muslim students at Moi Girls High School, Kibra constituency in Nairobi City County, despite Christian students having a designated space for fellowships. Mr. Speaker, this issue raises concerns about religious inclusivity and equity in public institutions in the country. It is important to ensure that all students, regardless of their faith, have equal access to facilities that support their religious practices as guaranteed by the Constitution. In the statement, the committee should report on the steps the Ministry of Education is taking to provide Muslim students at Moi Girls High School in Kibra constituency with a dedicated prayer room, similarly to the facility available for Christian students. Number two, clarify the ministry's policy on ensuring religious inclusivity and equal access to facilities for students of all faiths in public schools across the country. And number three, provide a time frame within which the ministry will address this issue and ensure that the Muslim students have a proper space for prayer and religious activities at the school. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to read my statement on the alteration of the Taita Taveta County and Kajiado County boundary. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations regarding the alteration of the Taita Taveta County and Kajiado County boundary at Rombo Ranch, following an agreement between the respective county governments on 4th July 2020. In the statement, the committee should, one, provide details of all registered boundary disputes that informed the alteration of the Taita Taveta County and Kajiado County boundary at Rombo Ranch. Two, disclose the details of public participation exercises undertaken by the respective county governments in respect of the boundary alteration, stating the dates and venues of the exercises, as well as the names and national identification numbers of participants. Three, clarify the agreement entered into by the two county governments on 4th July 2020 in respect of the boundary alteration is legally binding. Four, indicate whether the agreed upon boundary alteration was deposited with the Survey Office, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and other relevant government entities. And five, state whether the process of boundary alteration complied with the legal framework for alteration of county boundaries, and if not, explain any remedial steps taken to revert to the originally delineated boundaries. Mr. Speaker, I have another statement. This statement is on the operations of Tavevo Water Company in Taita Taveta County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment, and Natural Resources regarding the operations of Taita Taveta Voi or Tavevo Water Company in Taita Taveta County. In the statement, the committee should, one, inform the Senate the billing calculation formula used by the Tavevo Water and Sewerage Company to bill its customers. Two, explain the different classes of water billing, including but not limited to urban and rural consumers, large and small scale and small volume consumers, or any other classification in use. And finally, three, provide details of the geographical area covered by the Tavevo Water and Sewerage Company and if possible, attach the map. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Richard Onyonka. That statement is dropped. Senator Onyonka had two statements. Both of them are dropped. Senator Alan Chisang.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to read out a statement on behalf of Senator Alan Chesang, a senator of Trans Nzoia County. Honorable Speaker, this is a request for a statement on the opening and operation of bank accounts by the County Executive of Trans Nzoia County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget regarding the opening and operations of bank accounts by the County Executive of Trans Nzoia. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide a list of all bank accounts operated by the County Executive of Trans Nzoia, stating the purpose of each bank account, the respective opening and closing balances for the 2023-2024 financial year, opening balance for the 2024-2025 financial year, as well as balance as at 1st October 2024. 2, report on whether the due process was followed in the opening of the bank accounts, providing evidence that all necessary authorizations required under the Public Finance Management Act and other relevant legislations were granted. 3, provide a list of all projects funded from these bank accounts, indicating the status of completion for each project. 4, disclose details of all short-term bank loans and overdrafts taken by the County Executive in the 2023-24 and 2024-25 financial years, providing justification for each bank facility and stating the applicable annualized and monthly interest rates, as well as the total interest cost. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, indicate whether the County Executive sought and was granted approvals by the County Assembly of Trans Nzoia to take the short-term bank loans and overdrafts, and if not, provide reasons for the same. Senator Alan Chesang, Senator for Trans Nzoia County.
Senator Chiranke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two statements, very important statements. Allow me to read concurrently. Mr. Speaker, a request for statement on the indefinite closure of Moi University. Mr. Speaker, and yours truly is an alumni of Moi University. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Education regarding the indefinite closure of Moi University due to prolonged industrial strike by workers over alleged mismanagement of the university. In the statement, committee should, 1, report on the current financial status of Moi University, providing reasons for the delayed payment of salaries, failure by the university to remit third-party deductions of more than Kenya shillings 4.1 billion. Mr. Speaker, number 2, state the amount of money received by the university from the government in the financial year 2024-2025 financial year, indicating the student enrollment at the university, particularly under the new university funding model framework. Mr. Speaker, number 3, provide a list of all assets, including commercial properties, land and estates owned and managed by the university, indicating the market value of each asset. Number 5, disclose all liabilities of the university, providing details of the sale agreement for the purchase of Rivertex East Africa Limited by the university, which is alleged to have been financed by a Kenyan shillings 3 billion loan. Mr. Speaker, number 5, state reasons for the delay resolution of the industrial strike by workers of the university, explaining how the government plans to address the situation and providing timelines for the reopening of the university. And finally, Mr. Speaker, clarify whether students will be compensated for the reporting to school or to the university as scheduled and incurring costs yet no learning as occurred, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the final statement, request for a statement on the status of digitization of government services. I raise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Information, Communication and Technology regarding the status of digitization of government services for enhanced transparency, efficiency, and accessibility in line with the Kenya's digital transformation agenda. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee should, one, outline the standards used to assess the readiness of government services for digitization, as well as criteria used to prioritize the services to be digitized by government. Mr. Speaker, number two, disclose the criteria used to evaluate the success of the ongoing digitization of government services, disclosing the strategies deployed to enhance performance, as well as the contingency plan for when the set targets are not achieved within the established timelines. Number three, Mr. Speaker, state the challenges encountered so far during the digitization process, explaining how the experiences have informed future plans. Mr. Speaker, number four, outline measures put in place to safeguard sensitive personal data uploaded on the digital platform provided in this service. As Mr. Speaker, finally, explain steps taken to bridge gaps in digital literacy among Kenyans and to address the challenges faced by persons, people living with disabilities, PWDs, to ensure and enhance equitable access to digital government services. I hope Senator Crystal is listening to this part. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Senate Majority Leader.
This is a statement by the Senate Majority Leader on the business of the Senate for the week commencing Tuesday, 29th October 2024, pursuant to Standing Order number 57-1. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to this standing order, I hereby present the business of the House for the Senate the week commencing 29th October 2024 on Tuesday. Mr. Speaker, sir, the status of the legislative business before the Senate is as follows. A, 58 bills are pending conclusion, of which 40 are at the second reading stage, while 18 are at the committee of the whole. B, 32 motions are pending conclusion. C, 25 petitions are pending conclusion, of which 19 are due for reporting by the respective standing committees, and D, 424 statements pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1. As honorable senators are aware, in accordance with the calendar of the third session, the Senate is scheduled to proceed on recess from 1st of November 2024 until 11th of November 2024. With that in mind, I urge all honorable senators to prioritize plenary sittings in the chamber to ensure that we make progress on the business highlighted above. Mr. Speaker, sir, on Tuesday, the 29th October 2024, the Senate Business Committee will meet to consider the business for the week. The tentative business, Mr. Speaker, for that day will include business not concluded from today's order paper, as well as business indicated in the notice paper. The tentative business for the morning sitting on Wednesday, 30th October 2024, will include the scheduled questions to cabinet secretaries as approved by the Senate Business Committee, as well as motions, whose summary is as follows. A, question number 35 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education by Senator Dr. Bonnie Khalwale, CBS MP. B, question number 36 to Cabinet Secretary for Education by Senator Dr. Boni Khalwale, CBS, MP. C, question number 48 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education by Senator Professor Thomas Ojenda, Senior Counsel, MP. Question number 52 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education by Senator Beatrice Ogola, MP. Question number 53 to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing, and Urban Planning by Senator Beatrice Ogola, MP. Question number 64 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education by Senator Dr. Boni Khalwale, CBS, MP. Question number 071 to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands and Public Works, Housing and Urban Development by Senator James Mrango, MP. Question number 82 to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Planning by Senator Mwenda Kataya, Mofaya, MP. Question number 94 to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development by Senator James Lomenen, MP. Question number 95 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education by Senator Mwenda Gataya, Mofaya, MP. Question number 98 to Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development by Senator Edwin Sifuna, MP. Question number 100 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education by Senator Garangu Thangwa, MP. Question number 107 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education by Senator Fatuma Dulo, CBS, MP. Question number 111 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education by Senator George Mbugua, MP. Question number 115 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education by Senator Catherine Mumba, MP. And finally, question number 119 to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development by Senator Hamida Kipwana, MP. The business for the afternoon sitting on Wednesday, 30th October 2027 will include business not concluded on the order paper for 29th October 2024 and the following. A, bills. Bill number 1. The Street Vendors Protection of Littlewood Bill, Senate Bills number 41 of 2023, to the Local Content Bill, Senate Bills number 50 of 2023, the Early Childhood Education Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 54 of 2023, the Land Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 40 of 2022, the Intergovernmental Relations Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 12 of 2024, the Energy Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 42 of 2023, the National Disaster Risk Management Bill, National Assembly Bills number 24 of 2023, the Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 53 of 2023, the Political Parties Amendment number 2 Bill, Senate Bills number 26 of 2004, and finally the Election Offenses Amendment Bill 2, Bill, Senate Bills number 28 of 2004. B, Mr. Speaker, bills at the second reading stage. 1, the Narcotics, Drugs, and Psychotropic Substance Control Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 1 of 2024, the County Government's Elections Laws Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 2 of 2024, the County Oversight and Accountability Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2024, the County Civic Education Bill, Senate Bills number 4 of 2024, the County Statistics Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2024, the Provision of Sanitary Towels Bill, Senate Bills number 7 of 2024, the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2024, and the County Assembly's Pension Scheme Bill, Senate Bills number 14 of 2024. Mr. Speaker, C is on motions. 1, report of the Standing Committee on Energy on its inquiry into the liquefied petroleum gas explosion in Muradi area, Embakasi, Nairobi City County. 2, report of the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on an inquiry into the welfare of workers in export processing zones in Mombasa and Kilifi counties. Report of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relationship on its inquiry into the personal security concerns raised by the Honorable Philomena Kapkori, Deputy Governor, Trans Nzoia County. Reports of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations on its inquiry into the state of markets in Vihiga and in Vihiga and Bungoma counties arising from statements sought by Senator Godfrey Osoti, MP, and Senator David Wakoli, MP. Development of a policy and law for social risk management in the infrastructure development projects in Kenya, and consolidation of bursary funds for equitable access to education in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the projected business for Thursday, 31st October 2024 will include business not included in the order paper for Tuesday, 29th October, Wednesday, 30th October 24th, and any other business scheduled by the Senate Business Committee. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and hereby lay the statement on the table of the Senate on behalf of Honorable Aaron Cheriot, MGH, MP, Senate Majority Leader, today, 24th October 2024. Thank you.
Now, honorable senators, I will allow comments for 15 minutes. We may have to agree the time per senator speaking to 2 minutes. So I'm going to allow comments for 15 minutes, each senator speaking for a maximum of two minutes. Yes, Senator Maruma.
Yeah, when the statement by the majority leader was being read, he kept referring to the Committee of Lands, Public Works and Housing and Urban Development. What I would want to clarify is whether that committee has been changed, because ordinarily the committee is Lands, Environment and Natural Resources. I just wanted that clarification. Thank you, Chair.
Sure. Yes, Senator Fernandi.
Mr. Speaker, just a quick one. You remember in August 2024, I did table a letter that I had written to Parliamentary Joint Services, Mr. Speaker, and I have not received any feedback, noting that the Senate is on the session and National Assembly is not, and the services are very slow, Mr. Speaker. You remember early this week, when we resume on Tuesday, the health club was closed. Mr. Speaker, the food is not available, Mr. Speaker. You remember when we had power outage, we were told somebody who had the key to the generator was not in the house, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to seek your guidance. Even I have noticed, Mr. Speaker, can you believe this? In the Facebook page called Parliament of Kenya, they carried a story that the Speaker of National Assembly attended the celebrations of Mashuja, but they didn't include even your picture or even mention that you are part of the attendees, including our majority leader, Mr. Speaker. So we are wondering whether this Parliamentary Joint Services is only working for the National Assembly. Because, Mr. Speaker, whenever we are in session, even to get a cup of tea, Mr. Speaker, here it is like we are not part of Parliament, Mr. Speaker. And I think it is the high time that parliamentary joint services must be disbanded because it is unconstitutional, it is illegal. Mr. Speaker, when exchequer releases are made, let it be subdivided between the Senate and the National Assembly. We have you, Mr. Speaker, and we believe in you and the clerk and the House leadership to protect us, Mr. Speaker. We are subject to ridicule. When you go even to health club, Mr. Speaker, you are not given proper attention. Simply, they assume when National Assembly are not on session, the parliament is not sitting, Mr. Speaker. Even small things like updating in Facebook that we are part of the people who accompany the president. Mr. Speaker, do you know it can undermine some of us politically, including you, people imagining that we are not loyal, Mr. So, Mr. Speaker, what I'm just mentioning, and I need direction, Speaker, on my letter that I tabled and I discussed with you, Mr. Speaker, that I needed to know from parliamentary joint services. The security layout, you remember there was a security breach to this house, Mr. Speaker, on 26 June 2024, no one gave us security layout. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the insurance cover in terms of repairs of the chambers of this house, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to request members, Mr. Speaker, that we must be together in this. Parliamentary joint services is undermining Senate, and no wonder they are sponsoring a bill of even abolishing the Senate, Mr. Speaker. You have seen the JLAC of National Assembly are coming up with a bill to abolish us. We are facing an imminent threat, Mr. Speaker, so I need your direction so that this house can be accorded the dignity and the respect. And in fact, so that we can discharge our work, Mr. Speaker. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Senator Fernandi, that matter was discussed during the Senate Business Committee meeting, and stern instructions were given to make sure that the services are offered without any interruption, despite the fact that the National Assembly is on recess. So if there are any instances that honorable senators are getting services that are not up to standards, then we can pick those specific complaints and handle them. Let's make progress, honorable senators. Yes, when when you're given opportunity to make comments in the statement, you can incorporate that because we need to make progress. Senator Olekina, if you wish to use your 2 minutes. Order, honorable.
Thank you,
Senator.
Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fernandez. So if you wish to use your 2 minutes on what has been raised, it's up to you.
Mr. Speaker, I think my 2 minutes are important to be used on matters. I wish to comment on the statement by Senator Hamida on the issue, the status of Mama Lucy Hospital. Mr. Speaker, in your communication this afternoon, you indicated to us that the National Assembly has rejected the amendments to the DORA that we proposed. Mr. Speaker, I want to request that the members who will appoint to be able to go to the mediation committee, let us remain focused because we need money to go to our hospitals. We do not want a situation where 3 or 4 parents are sharing a bed. So,
Order,
Mr. Speaker,
honorable Senator.
I really would like to plead with our colleagues here that this time around, we need to be able to think about how we can ring-fence money to be able to support our hospitals. In my county of Narok, we have a hospital which was funded by the World Bank. It is not complete. We need to prioritize what our priorities are, and healthcare should be one among them. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope that this statement, and I sit in the health committee, we can actually be able to discuss how to ring-fence money. We need to improve the bed capacity. There was a point when people were talking about Mama Lucy only having 216 beds. That was increased a little bit. But the population, people are migrating. There's a lot of rural urban migration into the city. So with that in mind, we have to think of the house that protects devolution, the house that protects the healthcare, and we find a way to reduce the money which is allocated to the Ministry of Health, because the budget allocated to the Ministry of Health is almost 6 or 7 times the amount of money which is allocated to county governments.
Senator Matthew.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to comment on the two statements that have been sought by our brother, the Senator for Nandi. And Honorable Speaker, I think I'll start with this statement that has been sought on the indefinite closure of Moi University. And as the Committee on Education looks at the particulars that have been raised by the Honorable Senator, Honorable Speaker, if there is one part of what we as government or what we in leadership must really focus and put our energies on is on education. Because, Honorable Speaker, it is education that equalizes most of us, and it is education that has brought most of us here. I am happy that this statement has been sought by an alumni of Moi University. And the particulars of what have been sought here, I would be particularly interested, and I don't know whether, Honorable Speaker, this could also be extended to the Committee on Labor, because one of the issues that have been raised here, a very pertinent issue, is the prolonged industrial strike by workers. If there is one aspect of this statement that I would really want to see how the committee would deal with, is the state of the amount of money received by the university, by the from the government in the financial year 2024-2025. These guys are too noisy. Indicating the student enrollment at the university, and particularly under the new university funding framework. Honorable Speaker, Moi University is a big university. The enrollment is actually very massive. Would be wondering if a university that has such a huge enrollment is struggling in its running and they can be closed indefinitely because their workers are not there. What would become of the other smaller universities that do not have as big enrollment as Moi University? So this is a matter that is pertinent. I'm sure I would be happy to be informed by the senator from Uasin Gishu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and Senator for Nyandarua for allowing me to inform him that actually Moi University is no longer the university with the highest enrollment. In fact, as we speak, Moi University has the least number of students, with only about 4,600 students as we speak today. Thank you very much.
Honorable Speaker, that is actually very relevant information, Honorable Speaker, because Moi University has been listed as one of the giants, academic giants that we have around. That is why it has given us the people who lead this house, led by the leader of majority, Honorable Aaron Cheriot, and it is very sad that it has sunk.
Yes, 1 minute, Senator Matthew. 1 minute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Speaker. It is very sad, Honorable Speaker, that a giant at the level of Moi University has sunk to its being closed for indefinitely for this long, and this matter cannot be addressed. We need to understand what exactly is happening to Moi University, and it must be looked into the root. I've seen that they even have a loan of up to a tune of 3 billion. We need to understand, Honorable Speaker, how they secured this kind of a loan, how they spend this kind of money, what they did with Rivertex East African Limited, and these are issues that would make such an institution sink this deep. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Sifuna.
Honorable Speaker, every time I stand here, I've always implored on my colleagues to always remember that we exist in a certain context. You cannot be tone deaf. On an afternoon when somebody has just brought a statement here on the dire state of affairs at the Mama Lucy Hospital in terms of the capacity to hold our women giving birth, then members stand up and start claiming that they have not been able to access a tea or mandazi or a health club. Honorable Speaker, as a member of the SBC, I am going to be pushing very hard that the conduct and pronouncement of certain members, even the bills that they bring before this house, they are costing the image of this house, Honorable Speaker, because those bills are tone deaf. How can somebody just stand up out of nowhere, propose a constitutional amendment to extend his own term when he's here and he was elected for 5 years? And then the rest of us are supposed to be dragged through this shame because people are looking for clout, bringing very useless bills here instead of addressing the things that are facing Wananchi, Honorable Speaker. Which is why I want to encourage our colleagues, because the majority of the members of this house know what brought them to this house. Some of us have never even gone to a sauna. A Bukusu man like myself, what is a sauna? I don't know. That is not why I was sent here. I was sent here to bring money for the people of Nairobi so that the governor can complete the new maternity wing at Mama Lucy. So, Honorable Speaker, these members who repeatedly bring shame to this house,
by bringing up ridiculous ideas, ridiculous thoughts, and painting them as if they are the thinking of the entire House. To call them out, Honorable Speaker, this is not why we were elected.
Yes, very good.
Senator Mungatana.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I wanted to comment, Mr. Speaker, on the statement from the Senator of Tanzania on the numerous bank accounts that that county has. Mr. Speaker, the same fate is befalling Tana River County. Mr. Speaker, Tana River County has 34 accounts that the executive operates. And Mr. Speaker, this is contrary to the provisions of the Public Finance Management Act. And even the Auditor General has called them out. But so far, Mr. Speaker, the executive has not tried, even attempted to close down some of those accounts. So, Mr. Speaker, I am asking the relevant committee, when they are dealing with the issue of Trans Nzoia government, they should as well deal with Tana River County, Mr. Speaker, with a view to closing down and bringing the relevant officers to account. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa pia fursa hii kuchangia taarifa, maombi ya taarifa yaliyoletwa na Seneta Hamid. Mheshimiwa Spika, masuala ya afya yanazidi kudorora katika kaunti zetu, na Mama Lucy sio pekee ambapo huduma zimelemaa na ukosefu wa fedha. Mheshimiwa Spika, tunapozungumza katika hospitali ya Mrima Likoni, Mombasa County, kina mama ambao wameweza kujifungua, Mheshimiwa Spika, wameweza kuzuiliwa katika hospitali hiyo kwa sababu hawajalipa gharama za kujifungua katika hospitali hiyo. Mheshimiwa Spika, itambulike kwamba mradi wa Linda Mama ulikuwa unasaidia kina mama kujifungua katika hospitali zetu, na mbali na kwamba walikuwa hawalipishwi, vile vile walikuwa wakitoka hospitali wanatoka na zawadi ndogo ndogo ambazo zinasaidia maisha yao. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna umuhimu wa hili swala la afya kuangaliwa kwa undani zaidi, kwa sababu kila tunapochelewa kumaliza masuala ya dora, ina maana fedha zitaendelea kuchelewa katika kaunti zetu na huduma zitaendelea kudorora. Mheshimiwa Spika, malipo pia ya NHIF ambao sasa imeitwa shift pia yameweza kusimamishwa kwa sababu hospitali hazilipwi malimbukizi ya pesa ambazo zimeweza kudaiwa. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna umuhimu wa waziri wa afya kuja hapa katika bunge hili kueleza ni kwa sababu gani mradi wa Linda Mama umeweza kusimama, na vile vile ni lini watakapolipa pesa za NHIF, malimbukizi ya pesa za NHIF, ili hospitali zetu ziendelee kutoa huduma kwa wananchi bila matatizo. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Veronica Maina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the statement brought to the floor of this House on the state by Senator Hamida on the state of the facilities at Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital. Honorable Speaker, it is terrible to imagine, Honorable Speaker, that hospital is so overcrowded that mothers who are giving birth have to share beds, Honorable Speaker. And maybe for a man, they may not understand what kind of an experience women have when they are delivering babies, Honorable Speaker. And I think, Honorable Speaker, if a budget was to be directed to any facility in this republic, it must look at the maternity wings that are in this nation, Mr. Speaker. I would urge the governor of Nairobi, together with the national government, to ensure that Mama Lucy is supported by an independent maternity wing, which is full-fledged, Honorable Speaker, with full facilities to support mothers and to ensure that we can reduce the infant mortality rate and we can make giving birth a very safe experience for the mothers, Honorable Speaker. And giving birth to a Kenyan child is a sacred duty, Mr. Speaker. Giving birth to a Kenyan child is a sacred duty that must be fully supported and fully given the care, the due regard and the care that mothers should have. And I would urge all hospitals in all counties, 47 counties, where women are being held back because of hospital bills after giving birth, should be released forthwith, and no woman should be held in hospital because they are not able to pay for their maternity bill charges right away. Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Now, allow me to make the following communication. I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon, visiting teachers and students from Kalyongwet Secondary School in Kericho County. The delegation comprises 2 teachers and 14 students who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposition. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I will allow the Majority Leader under 1 minute to extend words of welcome.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I join in welcoming these students of Kalyangwet Secondary School. That's in Soensigawet Sub-County, Mr. Speaker, very close to my home. I hope in their visit to the Senate, Mr. Speaker, they've had opportunity to learn about business as we transact it. They're very lucky, Mr. Speaker, because this afternoon they'll get an opportunity that many visiting delegations don't get, which is to see us actually legislate and pass laws. We are about to do the third reading, Mr. Speaker, or to vote on a mediated version of a bill, the sugar bill, Mr. Speaker. And these students come from a sugarcane growing area. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I hope it will be a welcome lesson to them and they'll appreciate the art of lawmaking. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Senators. As directed, we will interrupt debate on order number 8 and move to order number 9. Upon conclusion of division, we will resume debate under order number 8. Clerk, proceed to call that order.
Order number 9, motion, report of the Mediation Committee on the Sugar Bill, National Assembly Bills number 34 of 2022. Mover to reply.
Are you the mover?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the mover of the motion is accompanying the president to an official function, and I was a seconder. I therefore request that I be allowed to reply. Mr. Speaker, sir, this particular motion has captured the imagination of this House, and very many senators, in fact, all of them have spoken in support. The senators who come from Tana River, from Kwale, from Kisumu, from Homa Bay, from Busia, from Kakamega, from Bungoma and Trans Nzoia are indeed indebted to you. These are the counties that host 8 million Kenyans whose livelihood is the sugar industry. We also want, on behalf of the business people who are involved in regular and legal importation of sugar, we want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Speaker, all other stakeholders, including the motor industry, the border industry, the school children who live on this particular industry are indeed very grateful. Mr. Speaker, 400,000 small-scale farmers have been at risk because of this particular law called the AFA law. And with this amendment, all this has been righted. And I thank everybody. And Mr. Speaker, I wish to reply. Thank you very much.
Now, Sergeant at Arms. Kindly ring the division bell for 2 minutes. Now, honorable senators, this is a matter that affects counties, and therefore voting shall be by delegations. Now, Senator Mariam and Senator Beatrice Akinyi, you'll be given rights to vote. So you'll vote from your seat. You don't have to come to the dispatch. Sergeant at Arms, you may now close the door and draw the bar. Honorable senators, please kindly take your seats so that I put the question before you vote. Senator Olekina, kindly take your seat. Now, honorable senators, I will now put the question that the Senate adopt the report of the Mediation Committee on the Sugar Bill, National Assembly Bills number 34 of 2022, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, the 22nd of October 2024, and further that pursuant to Article 113(2) of the Constitution and Standing Order 167(3) of the Senate, approve the mediated version of the bill. Now, before you vote, just log out, and Sergeant at Arms, kindly pick any unattended cards. Senator Funyamira. Senator Funyamira, Senator for Kilifi. We have not suspended our standing orders. Sergeant at Arms, if you are done collecting the unattended cards, honorable senators, you may now log back and proceed to vote. Now, honorable senators, the result of the division is as follows. Ayes 27, nays 0, abstention 0. So the ayes have it. Sergeant Tams, you may now open the door and withdraw the bar. So, honorable senators, we shall resume debate on the statements. Senator Eddie Okech.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. And I wanted to make a quick comment on the statement by Senator Amida on the pathetic and deplorable status of Mama Lucy Hospital. Mr. Speaker, currently in Mama Lucy Hospital, there is a new maternity wing that is being developed with 120 beds. This maternity wing that is being developed, Mr. Speaker, has got a vision of 2 operating theaters. It has got 6 delivery beds. It has got 10 burn units, Mr. Speaker. There is 60-bed maternity lounge for preterm babies, Mr. Speaker. And if you look at the amount that this new maternity wing is being built at, Mr. Speaker, is about 344 million, Mr. Speaker. And in last year's financial year, they only got 70 million. What is the problem in this case, Mr. Speaker? It is simply an issue of money. And I think that this is the time that the Senate must stand with all hospitals across the country and make sure that those who will be sent to mediate the dollar bill, Mr. Speaker, ensure that we give counties money and we don't go below 400 billion, because the key issue here is this, Mr. Speaker, money going to counties, Mr. Speaker. In fact, there is a stalled NMS maternal ICU unit in Mama Lucy, Mr. Speaker, and it mirrors the ongoing stalled project that we see across county hospitals, Mr. Speaker. Even in Migori County, there comes a time that you realize that even paying bills as simple as electricity bills, Madam.
Senator.
Mr. Speaker, as I stand to support the statement, Mr. Speaker, I beg that I be added 1 minute for the sake of all the unborn children out there, Mr. Speaker, including the one that I carry, Mr. Speaker. Just 1 minute. Mr. Speaker, as I stand here, it really pains me to be the individual that actually says that I'm disappointed, Mr. Speaker, not only in the county government of Nairobi, because Governor Sakaja is a governor under UDA, my party, Mr. Speaker. And I am disappointed because time and time again, when we bring issues that are dealing with women, that are dealing with children, and particularly women, Mr. Speaker, I feel as though we are talking to people who are not hearing us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and I say this, I'm carefully just trying to put out the issues without being political, Mr. Speaker. But Kenya Kwanza, we signed a women charter, Mr. Speaker. And in that women charter, we promised the women of Kenya, 27 million of them, Mr. Speaker, because that is the population of females. We promised that we are going to deliver maternal health care, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, when you look at the images coming from Mama Lucy and the images that are coming from other hospitals when it comes to maternal health care, Mr. Speaker, it is very sad. And Mr. Speaker, the reason I asked for 1 more minute is because as much as this is an issue of funds and county allocation, Mr. Speaker, as a national government, Kenya Kwanza, we actually have an intention to address the women of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Until today, you know, we don't even have a minister of gender, Mr. Speaker. This is how much we think about women, Mr. Speaker. It is like, those are not issues that should be, you know, discussed, Mr. Speaker. There is hope. I want to ask Governor Sakaja to remember that Pumwani had the same problems. And Pumwani Hospital, where I am actually, that is where I attend my antenatal clinics. Pumwani Hospital has actually made the turnaround, Mr. Speaker. From all the horror stories that we used to hear, Pumwani Hospital has tried and made an intentional approach, Mr. Speaker. I urge Governor Sakaja to perhaps go and sit with those people in Pumwani if they need to benchmark so that they can do something so that in this Mama Lucy facility where we are talking about beds and the facilities that are there, Mr. Speaker, it is also an issue of understanding how many people are they serving and how to ensure that the women like me who are pregnant, who are, waiting to deliver. And I like what Senator Veronica said, that our duty to bring forth life. Mr. Speaker, I ask for 1 minute on behalf of the women.
Third one now.
Okay.
You have 3 seconds to conclude the third one.
Mr. Speaker, 3 seconds, even as we deliver.
Senator Osotsi.
Mr. Speaker, I want to comment on the statement by Senator Cheregei regarding the status of Moi University. Mr. Speaker, it is sad to hear what is happening at Moi University, being one of our premier universities in this country. But I want to say that I think the status of Moi University should actually inform us as politicians not to interfere with education institution. Mr. Speaker, we remember one Professor Labanairo, who is my constituent, a very renowned professor, wanted to turn around Moi University, but he was just ejected from that university because of tribalism. And now the professor has converted Daystar University to be the Kenyan equivalent of Harvard University. So that tells you, as leaders, we should stop interfering with the running of our universities and make them
What is
purely
your point of
academic
order, Senator
without any
Owasin
political interference, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I've heard the senator for Vihiga making allegations that Professor Airo was chased out of Moi University because of tribalism. Understanding Order 105, Honorable Speaker, because that university falls squarely in my county. I'm a politician from that county. Can he substantiate? And what is the place of interviews in terms of selection of vice chancellors in this country?
Senator Osotsi,
Mr. Speaker,
kindly proceed to substantiate.
Mr. Speaker,
You've made
the
an
senator
allegation.
for Uasin-Gishu should first of all declare conflict of interest in this matter. Because when the good professor was being ejected from the university, he was a governor of Uasin-Gishu and is among the politicians who ejected the good professor from that university. Mr. Speaker, Professor Labanairo is my constituent. I have a right to defend him, Mr. Speaker. So, and I'm ready to defend him anywhere, including on the moon.
Senator
Mr.
Osotsi,
Speaker.
you know, you've made one more allegation. One, the first one was that the good professor was chased away of the university on tribal basis. That's one. Secondly, that the senator for Uasin-Gishu County, Senator Mandago, actually directly was involved in chasing away the professor. You need to substantiate those two allegations.
Mr. Speaker, what I'm talking about is facts, and the truth will set you free. I am ready to substantiate. It is common knowledge that Senator Mandago was the then governor of Uasin-Gishu, and together with the then senator, they participated in ejecting Professor Labanairo from Moi University. And I'm ready to substantiate, Mr. Speaker. Next week, I'm ready to substantiate.
Order, I think Senator
I would
Soto has
like
requested
for
for next week.
Boni Khalwale to inform me.
Yeah, Honorable Osotsi has requested for time so that he can substantiate. So Senator Osotsi will proceed to substantiate next week.
Mr. Speaker, I'm ready to
conclude with the-
substantiate, and I want Dr.
You have
Boni
few
Khalwale to
seconds
inform.
All right. you can proceed to inform Senator Osotsi.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Senator of Vihiga for accepting to be informed. Senators, we should recall that a few days ago, we voted to remove Deputy President and tribalism was on the card. Mr. Speaker, a video has been doing rounds, and the person depicted is the Senator of Uasin Gishu, former Governor Mandago. And Mr. Speaker, in that video, it is recalling the role he played in removing Professor Ayiro. Mr. Speaker, sir, because of the seriousness of tribalism, we should call out the Senator of Uasin Gishu. Mr. Speaker, I was in this house. I remember we moved a motion and we called out.
Honorable,
I'm informing.
Honorable Senators, Senator Boni, take your seat. Senator Boni, take your seat. Order, 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 honorable senators. Senator Fernandi, you cannot rise on a point of order against a point of information. Now, honorable senators, allegations have been made, very serious allegations by the senator for Vihiga. He has requested for time to enable him substantiate. Senator Boni, that does not amount to information, the one you're passing. And I have not had the advantage of looking at the video, so you cannot even refer to it. So we will allow Senator Osotsi to substantiate next week. What if you look at the standing orders, it's very clear. We go by standing orders, majority leader. So let's leave it there. Senator Osotsi, your time had run out. So we go to the majority leader. You may proceed to take your 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to speak about Mama Lucy, but now I've been distracted by the very unnecessary attacks on a colleague by none other than Boni Halwale. Mr. Speaker, you cannot allow that to remain on record. Discussing a colleague, the provisions are clearly provided for in our standing orders, Mr. Speaker. If Senator Boni Halwale wanted to discuss the conduct of Senator Jackson Mandago, it is provided for in our standing orders. Why are you allowing, Mr. Speaker, this to be a marketplace where I can rise and begin to discuss anybody, including your conduct? Mr. Speaker, that is not right.
Minority leader.
That is not right, Mr. Speaker.
Minority leader, just take your seat. You resume your contribution. I directed because 2 allegations had been made. One, that the professor had been ejected from Moi University based on tribalism, and the second allegation was directed to the senator for Uasin Gishu. And I directed Senator Osotsi to substantiate, which he sought time. So the issue of Senator Mandago being brought in here, we will hear the substantiation when we resume next week. As far as what the information the senator for Kakamega was trying to help Senator Osotsi with, that does not amount to any information to be passed. Okay? And to the extent that it was not information helpful to Honorable Senator Osotsi, and to the extent that it touches on the conduct of one of the honorable senators in this house, then Senator Boni Kalwale, you need to retract that statement and allow Senator Osotsi to come and substantiate on his allegations. Just retract and take your seat. No speeches.
Mr. Speaker, I can never retract that statement because it is a fact.
Okay, then, Senator Boni, you're out of order, and I will ask you to leave the chamber for the rest of today's sitting. Okay, Majority Leader, you may proceed.
Speaker, thank you for granting Senator Boni Alwale a chance to enjoy his favorite glass of changa early in the day. Mr. Speaker, can I quickly now?
Majority Leader, you are discussing the conduct of Senator Bond.
But he enjoys changa. That is a fact.
Just retract that statement.
That is a fact.
Order, Honorable Senator, order. Majority Leader, proceed to retract that statement.
Mr. Speaker, I withdraw changa and replace it with his favorite drink, which is known anyway.
Senator Majority Leader, conclude. You have 1 minute to go.
Mr. Speaker, quickly, now to more serious issues. Mr. Speaker, I want to add my voice to the issue of Mama Lucy Hospital that has been brought by Senator Hamida. Where Mama Lucy sits today, Mr. Speaker, is where I played football as a young boy, from the age of 2 up to the time I became an adult. The people being served in that particular hospital today are friends that I grew up with. If I was not a senator in this house, Mr. Speaker, perhaps that's where I'd be doing other duties as what has been brought about by this senator. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with the chairperson of the Health Committee to treat this matter with the urgency that is needed. If citizens of this republic are sharing 4 to 5 people, one hospital bed, Mr. Speaker, then the intervention of the county and the national government, Mr. Speaker, is urgently needed to alleviate the suffering that is being faced by these citizens. I beg Senator Mandago and his team of the Health Committee to treat this matter with the urgency that it deserves. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Beatrice Ogola.
Honorable Speaker, I want to first, as I support Senator Mida's statement, I want to congratulate all the men in our lives, and especially this special man in the life of Senator Gloria Orwoba, that is going to give birth to a new Kenyan very soon. But Honorable Speaker, my problem, Honorable Speaker, I keep wondering whether, is it fair that 60 years after independence, women have to deliver in distress, Honorable Speaker? There's 9 months that we go through being pregnant is distressed enough. Honorable Speaker, if 4 mothers or 2 mothers that have delivered are sharing a bed,
this recommendation is not implemented. Madam Speaker, the other one is about education system. Madam Speaker, there is a freedom of religion. Madam Speaker, most of our schools, be it private or public, there's no a special place for prayer for Muslim students. And again, some of the students of Muslim students are forced to do to learn Christian religion. That means the students are forced not to do IRE because they don't want to. The management will not allow the student to prosper in their religion. Madam Speaker, when it comes to this health issue, the SHA normally
Senator Mariam, you'll have half a minute. Finish the sentence.
Madam Speaker, SHA tackles level 2 up to level 5. And if Mama Lucy is level 5, and if it is pathetic like that, do you think that this SHA issue can be implemented properly? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Mofaya Gataya Mwenda.
Madam Speaker, I want to contribute on the statement of Mama Lucy. And I want to say that when I remember Mama Lucy, Madam Speaker, I remember it with a lot of nostalgia. I remember I lost my niece there I think some 2-3 years ago because of sheer neglect and irresponsible medical staff. And Madam Speaker, across the country, I think I would call upon the Committee on Health to give this House a detailed report on the status of the facilities, because Madam Speaker, quite a number of facilities are relatively dilapidated. There's nothing to show. No. The staff are just very relaxed, Madam Speaker, and I think it is their time that the committee must move with speed and make sure that this House gets to know the status of every condition in our country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Madago.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I'll request for extra 3 minutes because the matter of health is in my committee, and I also want to comment on Senator Cherarge's statement. Honorable Speaker, on the matter of health, and as a chair of health committee, we have had opportunity to visit a number of counties, Honorable Speaker. We have had opportunity to visit Mama Lucy, Honorable Speaker. And in our meeting, Honorable Speaker, for Mama Lucy, we met a raft of recommendations. And as I stand here, Honorable Speaker, I would want to say that after our review, the county government of Nairobi has actually made some improvements in the areas that we had already asked that they address and attend to. Honorable Speaker, this being a new statement, we would wish as a committee to be given time to be able to visit and fact find on that matter. But Honorable Speaker, realizing that over 10,200 facilities are in counties and requires the attention of the Senate Health Committee, Honorable Speaker, I'll be proposing to this House that we actually convert the whole senators, 67 of us, Honorable Speaker, on a particular period of time to be members of the Health Committee so that we can disperse these senators to make field visits, Honorable Speaker. From our field visits, there has been tremendous improvement in a number of facilities that we have visited, including Longisa in Bomet, Kisii Level 5 facility in Kisii County, and even Mombasa Level 5 facility and in Kwale County, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as a committee, we are seized of the matters that have been raised by Senator for Nakuru, Senator Kiroche, and we are going to take action, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me now to comment on the statement by Senator Cherarge, Honorable Speaker, concerning Moi University. Honorable Speaker, I would want to say from the onset that the problems of Moi University, I would say, are the most misunderstood problems, Honorable Speaker. And I want to summarize this way, Honorable Speaker. Moi University today is in the situation it is, not because of a management issue, Honorable Speaker, but because of a government policy of increasing access to university education in this country. It should not be lost on Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, and those who make comments to the extent of thinking that Moi University has been mismanaged, Honorable Speaker, that Moi University has nurtured, and now they are fully fledged universities, 9 of them, Honorable Speaker. The loan that the Honorable Senator for Nyandarua was talking about, Honorable Speaker, is a loan that was taken to acquire Kakoji Tea Training Center in Karatina, Honorable Speaker, for purposes of training by Karatina University. Honorable Speaker, when Moi University nurtured all these universities, they used their own resources to nurture and bring up those universities. Honorable Speaker, when those universities were made fully fledged, all the loans and the expenses were left with Moi University, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, how do you expect Moi University to pay for a loan for Kagoji Training Center in Karatina, used by Karatina University, Honorable Speaker? The logical thing that should have happened during transition was to transfer the loan to Karatina University. In total, the amount of money utilized by Moi University to establish 9 universities in this country, to create access to higher education in this country, Honorable Speaker, amounts to close to 13 billion Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, just the other day, because I think people are on a rush, on a takeover mood of all the assets of Moi University, Ministry of Industry took over Rivertex, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Moi University revived the Rivertex, invested their 3.7 billion for purposes of training textile engineers for this country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is a nation that is importing clothes. When we have opportunity to grow cotton in Nyando, in Elgeyo Marakwet, the Kerio Valley, and banditry using agriculture, but Ministry of Industry has woken up one fine morning, declared it a parastatal for the ministry, 3.7 billion for Moi University is there. All that we hear is Moi University has been mismanaged. I dare say, national government must take responsibility. National Assembly has the responsibility of budgeting at least 15 billion Kenya shillings to get Moi University out of the woods that the government, as a policy, put Moi University into it, Madam Speaker. Finally, Madam Speaker, it is difficult to even understand how COOPs can decide that Moi University, with a declared capacity of 14,000 students, gets 6,000 students in an enrollment, Honorable Speaker, while a small university like Kisii University, Madam Speaker, which was started the other day, sitting in some few acres of land, Madam Speaker, gets 16,000. What is the rationale that has...
Your time is over. We are done with the statement hour. We will proceed on to the next agenda, agenda number 8. The next order.
Order number 8, the Street Naming and Property Addressing System Bill, Senate Bills number 43 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the procedure and guidelines for an addressing system for each county and for naming of streets and public places in counties and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 10, motion, report of the mediation committee
works development agencies, and it is fair that we allow and we do not put them together, such that the tariff for bulk water is the same as the tariff for the water that is being provided by water service providers, Honorable Speaker. Because, Honorable Speaker, most of this water is actually the water that now goes to the consumer. So if we allow the water that is going to the consumer to have the same tariffs as the water that is being provided for at the bulk level by the Water Works Development Authority agencies, Honorable Speaker, we shall make water a very expensive commodity, and we have to protect the people of Kenya, and that is why we had to set in this particular clause. That is clause or section 72(1)(c), which already provides that WASREP's role in evaluating and recommending water and sewerage tariffs for water service providers and the bill needed to distinctly address the evaluation, recommendation, and approval for processes for bulk water tariffs. We had to have them separate, Honorable Speaker. I then go to clause 6, handover of completed works. Honorable Speaker, the committee considered clause 6 of the bill, which outlines the handover of completed works, and rejects the Senate's proposal to hand over National Public Water Works Authority, water works to county governments. It is the same explanation that I've given earlier, Honorable Speaker. That number one, some of these counties, some of these projects are trans-counties. They transfer in different counties, so it will be difficult to even administer such a project that runs in 3 counties, even agreeing upon which this county, which county this project will be handed over to. It would be administratively a challenge. So we ceded to this proposal by the National Assembly, just as we had agreed. And Honorable Speaker, it's also important to note that the mother intention of this bill is that we can create a framework for making water a tradable commodity, so that private people can be able to engage in water projects, and the easiest people to engage with are the Water Works Development Authorities. So it will be difficult then, if a private person is the one that developed this project, then it has been handed over to a county, and the agreement had been entered with the Water Works Development Authority. It would be a very unneat situation. Please, Honorable Speaker, allow me to then go to clause 5. Section 72 of the Water Act, Cap 7372, empowers the regulatory board to publish the regulatory standards without the approval of the Cabinet Secretary. For consistency with the provisions of the law, and in order for WASDEP to maintain the independence and autonomy in its operation, WASDEP, the regulatory board should be empowered to set national standards for the water, for the provision of water services and asset development for water services providers without approval of the Cabinet Secretary. Honorable Speaker, I'm sure from what I've read, you know what we are protecting, what we are trying to protect, Honorable Speaker. It is now an overreach by especially the executive through the Cabinet Secretaries, Honorable Speaker, in a body that is independent, that has been tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that they are the ones that are setting tariffs, and they are the ones that are publishing regulatory standards. So for it to require another approval by a Cabinet Secretary, we felt that this would be an overreach of the executive, Honorable Speaker. We need to protect the water, the WASDEP from this overreach by the executive, and that is why we in the mediation committee actually agreed on this particular mediated version of this particular section of the law. However, pursuant to Section 2 and 22 of the Statutory Instruments Act guidelines, the statutory instruments, and consequently, there is a requirement for the publication in the Gazette. Section 2 of the Statutory Instruments Act includes guidelines in the definition of the statutory instruments as follows. Statutory instruments mean any rule, order, regulation, direction, form, tariff of, cost of fees, letters, patent, commissions, warrant, proclamation by law, resolution, guideline, or any other statutory instrument issued made or established in the execution of a power conferred by or under an act of parliament under which the statutory instrument or subsidiary legislation is expressly authorized to be issued. So whereas Section 22 provides for the publication of the statutory instruments, subject to Section 2, every statutory instrument shall be published in the Kenya Gazette and shall be assigned a serial number as of the year and that kind of a thing, Honorable Speaker. But what was agreed upon in this particular section of this particular law is that the Cabinet Secretary shall not have to approve or superintend over work that has already been delegated to the water to WASREB, the regulatory body. Honorable Speaker, allow me then to go to clause 11. There are not very many clauses that we were dealing with at the mediation level, Honorable Speaker. So I'm not very far from through. I'm actually just 2 sections away from through. Honorable Speaker, clause 11 is an amendment to section 14 of the objects of the Water Sector Trust Fund. And Honorable Speaker, before I read what is in this mediated version, allow me to express my great displeasure because we invited the Water Trust Fund, the leadership of the Water Trust Fund, to appear before the committee of the Senate, before it appeared before the before the mediation committee. And what we have been trying to protect, Honorable Speaker, is a proposal to allow Waterworks Development Authority to partake upon the budget of the Water Sector Trust Fund. Honorable Speaker, and I would have wished to refer to the Constitution, and I know those who comment after me will tell you that the reason why the Water Sector Trust Fund was mooted, and the reason why it is part of the government agencies that we have, is so that they can be able to reach where waterworks development authorities cannot get to go, Honorable Speaker. In fact, specifically it is there in law that for them, their appraiser or their budgets are supposed to go to the most rural parts of this republic, Honorable Speaker, where it would be economically not viable for any either county government or the national government. They will find it not economically viable to provide water to the people who live in such areas, Honorable Speaker. It is this inequality that necessitated the formation of the Water Sector Trust Fund. So we felt bad that they didn't support the position that had been taken by the Senate, that we should not allow WWDAs, that is the Waterworks Development Agencies, from partaking from their budget. Because, Honorable Speaker, this was our argument. Where does the funding of the Water Sector Trust Fund come from? They get their funding from Exchequer, they get their funding from partners, they get their funding from donors. Where does the budget of the Waterworks Development Authority come from? They get their budget from the Exchequer, they get their budget from the partners, they get their budget from the donors. Why is it that you are getting your budgets from the same source, but you want to partake from a budget of the other agency? Why did they want to open up that budget to the Waterworks Development Authority? And more importantly, again, Honorable Speaker, because it is important that I converse on this particular proposal in law. The budget of the Water Sector Trust Fund for the year 2024-2025 was about 4.7 billion, just 4.7 billion. If you are to divide 4.7 billion, it was actually 4.3 billion, not 4.7. If you are to divide 4.7 billion, Honorable Speaker, with the number of counties that we have, that would be about 90 million. If they were just to share that money equally, it would just be 90 million. 90 million, Honorable Speaker, for every county, including the county that you come from, Nairobi, or the county that you come from, Muranga, or the county that the senators who are here. I would want the senator for Busia to tell us, or the senator from Tana River to tell us, or the senator from West Pokot to tell us, how much would 90 million? What project, what major or big project can be undertaken by any serious government agency with 90 million for a whole county like Tana River, that we now have so much that we can share with the Waterworks Development Authorities, Honorable Speaker, whose budget runs in tens of billions? Why would they want to partake these small budgets that are meant for a small dam in Tana River, a small dam in Busia, a borehole in some place in Busia that is so remote that the Waterworks Development Authorities cannot get, that the county government of Busia cannot get to such a place, Honorable Speaker? So we felt very disappointed that the Water Sector Trust Fund and their leadership did not want to support this, but we are happy that we are able to convince our colleagues from the National Assembly that they support this particular proposal by the Senate. So the committee agreed with the Senate's proposal to delete clause 11 of the bill that proposed to amend section 114 of the Water Act to expand the mandate of the Water Sector Trust Fund by broadening the scope of its entities to which the fund caters. And by the way, the reason that was given by the Water Sector Trust Fund is that most of the donors who want to give money, they don't have a lot of trust with the waterworks development agencies. So, Honorable Speaker, I don't want to say that they wanted to cure diarrhea by sewing the exit, but it looked more like it. There is need to protect the integrity and the purpose of the Water Trust Fund. It is what I've been explaining on this particular clause. Finally, allow me then to go to clause 12, an amendment to section 19 of the Water Tribunal. It was a proposal of the Senate, Honorable Speaker, that since water is a devolved function, it is fair that we allow the Council of Governors to nominate members who shall be sitting in the Water Tribunal. But it also came to our notice, especially from our legal people, that we have to reject that particular proposal. Because if a tribunal is supposed to be an umpire, why then do you need to bring players? Or why would you allow players to nominate people to sit in this particular tribunal? Article 169 of the Constitution of Kenya establishes subordinate courts, including local tribunals, established by an act of parliament. So in exercising judicial authority under Articles 159 and 160 of the Constitution, tribunals ought to be independent. It is this that informed our decision, Honorable Speaker, of agreeing to reject our own proposal, that we have the Council of Governors nominate 2 people to sit in this tribunal. Because if this tribunal is to be independent, then we must ensure that we remove all the players, either nomination by the Cabinet Secretary, either nomination by the Council of Governors, or any player, so that the tribunal can be independent. I think it is the same case for the House Business Tribunal. It is the same case for the Rent Business Tribunal and all the other tribunals that have been formed in law. It is a preserve of the judiciary to nominate the people who should sit there. It is like, to make it easier, Honorable Speaker, it is like parties being allowed to nominate judges who shall be hearing their matters. It will be very difficult. In the very matter that is before court this afternoon, if I was allowed to nominate a judge, the judge would be very biased because I'm a party to whatever is the proceedings. So the Water Tribunal, as proposed in the bill, is being under the Water Act. Hears dispute related to the implementation of the Water Act. This tribunal itself, Honorable Speaker, is meant to address all the disputes that would come. If there's a dispute on tariffs that has been set by WASDEP, they are supposed to be heard by this tribunal before if the parties agree, they can go to the superior courts. But if then they are meant to hear these disputes emanating from the Water Act, Honorable Speaker, all the players that have been mentioned in this Water Act then should be kept away from the tribunal so that the tribunal can be independent. So as an arbiter, it is prudent that the tribunal's membership remains as neutral as possible. So as I move on, Honorable Speaker, because that shall be my last clause, I would also want to thank the members of the committee because, Honorable Speaker, it is important to note that the committee that I chair has been dealing with 3 mediations at a go on a week that was very difficult, Honorable Speaker, a week before the 2 impeachments that we had, and the week that we had the impeachment, Honorable Speaker, and we had a mediation on the this Water Act. We had another mediation that is coming up, Honorable Speaker, on the National Rating Bill, and we had the final one on the Senator Mungatana bill on the benefit sharing that is still something that the committee is dealing with. So I thank the members of the committee that they were able to commit a lot of their time so that we can be able to deal with these pieces of legislation. With those very many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I wish to invite the Senator for Nandi to second this motion. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Senator. Senator Chiradike Samson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I want to take this opportunity.
Please take
Madam,
note of,
Madam Speaker, sorry. Madam Speaker, thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to second this motion of the mediated version of water bill. I want to thank the chairperson, who coincidentally is our chair of lands, environment. For I don't know how long he will be, but we want to wish him well, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, can I
Senator
second?
Chiradike, what are you insinuating by saying you do not know how long he will be chair of standing committee on lands and natural resources? Are you insinuating at removal of the chairperson or resigning or otherwise exiting from his duties as the chair of this committee?
Madam Speaker, you know, after 5 years, we'll go and seek for mandate unless we add more. But the point I try to make that it will reach a time he will be reassigned maybe to another committee as a chair or lighter duties.
Are you privy to such information
Yeah,
which
I'm
you need to
privy.
disclose to the House?
No, I'm privy, but I've told him in confidence. So, but he's doing a good job. That one does not mean that he's not doing a
Proceed.
good job.
Proceed, proceed.
And Madam Speaker, you need to protect Metu from the majority leader, because you can see the excitement of majority leader on the matter. I want to congratulate Senator John Medu, one of our youngest senators in the House, for proving time and again that he is equal to the task. And we are very proud that as a young senator, one of the youngest senator, Madam Speaker, he continues to demonstrate good leadership skills both in the committee and in the mediation. And it shows the confidence of the House leadership led by the majority leader to assign him to such very serious tasks. I want to secondly to mention of water is life, Madam Speaker. We normally say that. Water is critical, water is important. But the sad story is that accessibility of water here in Nairobi or any other parts is still a challenge, especially in Eastern, Northeastern, and Nairobi, Madam Speaker. And I said last time that there is no difference, Madam Speaker, between access to water of people in Northern Kenya and Eastern and Nairobi. Because Nairobi, it comes like a doctor's appointment. You are never sure when water will be available in our taps. And I think this is a big challenge. And when we get legislative interventions led by the Senator Medu's committee to try and come up with such, we don't take it for granted. Madam Speaker, let me begin with the clause number 11, where the National Assembly wanted water sector trust fund to include, yet it is counties, Senator has explained very well, that fund this water sector trust fund. It is critical because these water sector trust funds, Madam Speaker, are used for water and sanitation. Madam Speaker, the projection, for example, in Kapsabet town, we have over 87,000 population. Yet we depend water supply that is being pumped through electricity and generator, Madam Speaker. Because we are still waiting to have establishment of Keben Dam, Madam Speaker, that will ensure there is access to water to Kapsabet town. Madam Speaker, the reason I'm making this point is under United Nations population fund, in 2020, there is an massive movement of rural urban, Madam Speaker. And therefore, it is very critical in access of water. There are many upcoming towns, especially in our counties. Wherever you come, for example, in Nandi, we have almost 10 upcoming trading centers, all the way in 6 sub-counties in Nandi. For example, and this growth,
What's your point of order,
continues
Senator
to
Hamida?
Madam Speaker, under Standing Order 41. I think this is an important matter in terms of water, Madam Speaker, and I can see we don't have quorum.
Clerk, can you confirm quorum? Let's have the quorum bell ring for 10 minutes.
Enda waite basi, sababu wewe ndio umeleta hii shida yote. Lakini surely guys, stop misusing this standing. We need to remove.
Well, we now have the quorum bell at the Senate on ring mode after Senator Hamida Kibwana stood on standing orders number 41 to notify the Speaker that the House did not have the requisite quorum to continue with the debate on the report of the Mediation Committee on the Water Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 33 of the year 2023, according to the Senator. The issue of water is a crucial aspect in the country and ought to be debated when the House has quorum, and guided by the standing orders of the Senate. The Speaker at the moment, Senator Veronica Maina, has directed that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes so that senators within the presence of Parliament can make their way back to the chamber to the necessitation of the quoration of the House to continue with the debate. The debate on the floor is a report of the Mediation Committee on Water Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 33 of the year 2023. And why is it a report of the Mediation Committee? Is by the mere fact that the House selected some of its members to sit with their counterparts at the National Assembly to come up with a mediated version of the report on matters Water Amendment Bill. Let's now have a look at the Water Amendment Bill number 23. It is an act of Parliament seeking to amend the Water Act of 2016 to provide for the public-private partnership arrangements for the connected purposes. So in case you're wondering what the Water Amendment Bill number 33 of the year 2023 seeks to achieve, this bill seeks to, among others, provide for powers and functions of waterworks development agencies, which shall be to undertake the development, maintenance, and management of the national public waterworks within the areas of their jurisdictions. The water development agencies are also set to operate the waterworks and provide water services as water service providers until such a time as the responsibility for the operation and management of waterworks are handed over to the county government's joint committees authority of the county government or water service providers within the area of their jurisdiction or supply of the waterworks are located. The Waterworks Development Agency is equally required to provide a reserve capacity for the purposes of providing water services, where pursuant to sections 103, the regulatory board orders that there is transfer of water services functions from the defaulting water service providers to other licensees. Well, the Senate afternoon, the members of the Senate have been making their ways back into the chamber this afternoon to allow the House raise quorum to continue with the debate on the report of the Mediation Committee on the Water Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 33 of the year 2023. Allow me to hand you over back to the chamber.
It's right away. So Senator Chiradige, take the floor. Please give him the mic.
Madam Speaker, I just want to make 4 points on this mediated version of the water bill. I was on clause number 11, where we were saying that this water trust sector trust fund should remain with counties. Madam Speaker, because most of the funding comes from the counties, and I was just informing the House that, Madam Speaker, with the affordable housing program of the government, now we need water and sanitation, Madam Speaker. I can give you statistics in the benefit of the House that according to the Population Kenya Bureau of Statistics, in 2023, we had more than 16,265,693 Kenyans in urban areas, Madam Speaker. And this was an increase of 3.81%, because in 2022, we have close to 15.6 million Kenyans that were in urban areas. So it means access to water and sanitation will become very critical. And therefore, the intention of National Assembly to thin the water trust fund was very unfortunate, but I'm happy that they agreed with our proposal that since most of the funding that goes to water sector trust funds should remain with counties, and therefore it is very critical. Even, for example, even in my own Kapsabet town has only a population of 87,000, but access to water is very challenging. The last time water project was launched was during Charity Ngilu when she was the minister, and we are using water, we are using electricity